September 1995. Nothing much going on. Still a picture framer. I'm a volunteer for the local blood bank, which means I do donate blood, but as a volunteer for the blood bank, I go to blood drives and sign people up to donate their blood. And this is important. Well, maybe not important, but it's going to come up in a future video. So I just thought I'd mention it now, setting the table, as it were. Let's jump into the books I read in September of 1995. Not a lot, but I started with Mucho Mojo by Joe Lansdale, the second Hap and Leonard book. Hap and Leonard are cleaning out, I believe it's Leonard's, the house of Leonard's just dead Uncle Chester, and they find a small skeleton wrapped in porno magazines. And of course, Hap, being Hap, wants to call the cops. Leonard is like, no, man, we're going to take care of this ourselves. And so they want to clear Chester's name, figure out why there's this tiny skeleton in Chester's house. It's Joe Lansdale, it's Hap and Leonard, it's fantastic. I've read it a number of times. It's the basis for the second season of the Hap and Leonard TV show. And there's a great reoccurring joke with the crack house next door. As always, I highly recommend any Joe Lansdale, but this is one of the best. And I followed that up with, let's just make sure, look at my list, The Two Bear Mambo by Joe Lansdale, the third Hap and Leonard book. And now I'm getting the hardbacks, baby. So in this one, there's a character, there's Florida Grange. She was Leonard's lawyer, Hap's ex-lover, and she is missing. She was investigating a racist town. And Hap and Leonard are looking for her, want to find out what happened to her. This, I think, could be wrong. It has been a while since I've read it. I think we start to get more weird characters in here, and I believe this is the book with an incredibly disturbing scene. But, as always, Joe Lansdale, Hap and Leonard, it's a masterpiece. And it's got a great title, The Two Bear Mambo. Next up, we have The X-Files, Whirlwind by Charles Grant. There's a serial killer, or is there? There's no connection between the victims. It says, looking at the back here, both sexes, all races, ages, ethnic groups. No evidence of rape or ritual. Only one thing connects the victims. They were victims of a natural disaster. So, weird murders. Mulder and Scully are going to investigate. Charles Grant is a great author, and I love his take on the X-Files. It's good stuff. That's it for the books I actually have. Next up, we have The Incredible Hulk, What Savage Beast by Peter David. Peter David was, at this time, writing the Incredible Hulk comic book. And so this is a novel, not a novelization. I've read somewhere that this was a story he wanted to do in the comics and wasn't allowed or whatever. I don't know if that's true. But this takes place during the Professor Hulk time. So, Smart Hulk. And when he turns into Banner, when he gets really, really angry, he turns into little scrawny Bruce Banner, but with the Savage Hulk mentality. So you've got this little scrawny dude running around saying, Hulk smash! But so this is Professor Hulk. He's married to Betty Ross. And she's pregnant. There's they're going to try this experiment. I think this is the one where they're going to put a biochip in his head so he's in complete control. And, there's Doc Samson, excuse me, a gamma powered psychiatrist. The Maestro, which is an evil future version of the Hulk. The Maestro's in this. All sorts of craziness. I like Peter David's writing. I love his run on the Hulk. I thought this was a pretty fun book. Then we have Footsteps of the Hawk by Andrew Vax. This is, I believe, number 8 of the Burke books. Burke, the sort of underground hero of the series. He's off the grid. And in this book, there are 2 cops that are sort of after him. There's one that wants him to free this guy from prison who is charged with a string of rapes. And it seems like the other cop is trying to frame Burke for those crimes. So he's got to, figure out what the hell's going on. Andrew Vax, Burke. It's good, hard-hitting stuff. Such a fantastic series. And then finally, the last book. So what is that? 6 books in September of 1995. The last one is Control by William Gibson. William Gibson, best known for... I don't know, it depends. I think it depends on who you are and what you like. Some people might know him best as the screenwriter for Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Some people might know him best for, Marathon Man. Some people might know him best for Princess Bride. Some people might know him as the screenwriter for Misery. But he's a novelist, a screenwriter, prolific dude. Wrote tons of great books and movies. And Control is hard to talk about because there's some things I absolutely do not want to give away. Blew me away when I read it. But it's seems like there's a lot of different things going on, different characters, different POVs. There's some cops and there's some weird things, but there are people, ordinary citizens, are losing control, going nuts. And it all eventually comes together. But how it does is just wild. This is a book. I haven't seen a copy of it in a long, long time. I'd like to reread it, see if it still has the same impact. Big fan of William Goldman. I like reading his fiction. I like reading his nonfiction. I would recommend Princess Bride is fantastic. Marathon Man is fantastic. Control, I remember being pretty fantastic. Excuse me. So that's it. That is all that I read in, what is this, September? I already threw the thing over here, so I lost track. It's early in the morning. It's been a weird weekend. Where are we at? Looking through my notebook. All right. So professional. Yes, September of 1995. 5 books. Not a huge array of different things. Although, I mean, we got some Joe Lansdale. It's a lot of mystery, mainly, except for the Incredible Hulk. Everything else would fall into the mystery thriller category, I think. So, I have no question, no specific question. So the typical generic question, do any of these books sound interesting to you? Which ones would you like to read? It should always be Joe Lansdale. Let me know in the comments below. If you have any comments, questions, or corrections, please put those in the comments below. Comments are open for spoilers. Just post a spoiler warning. We try to be polite here on my channel. Please like, share, and subscribe. All the usual YouTube stuff. If you'd care to follow me on other social media, my Twitter is @Ronan5757. My Instagram, where I post pictures of books, comic books, board games, and fuzzy animals, is Eric Smith 5757. That's Eric with a K, ERIKSMITH 5757. That's all I have for you this week. So until next week, read more books.